Elizabeth versus Shanae feud continues on social media. Is Tayshia getting back together with Zac and a new reality show, Be on the Edge? Hey guys, and welcome back to another shared news. We're going to be breaking down the biggest Bachelor moments of the week. But before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that bell so you never miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, joined by Gianna Gravelisi and Allison Von Dam, and we are going to get into it. But how are you guys doing today? Gianna and Allison, welcome to this side of the panel.
Doing well. Happy Thursday. We are almost at Friday. This has been the longest week of my life. I'm honestly excited to have Allison here with us
Mhm.
because she's usually behind the scenes and now she's here on the scene. So, Allison, welcome.
Thank you. I know it's weird. I was telling you guys, I feel like I know you from editing so many videos of you, and now we're actually interacting for real, which is great.
Yeah, so wait, so Allison, what made you decide that you wanted to be in front of the camera? Is this like a dream of yours? Is this something you've always wanted to do? Like, what's the difference?
It's kind of a nice combination, I think. I'm an actor by trait. It's what I majored in. So I love being in front of the camera. I love performing, but I also love pop culture. So it's kind of a nice hybrid in between. So I'm excited.
Okay, well, welcome, and we're excited to hear your takes and opinions. We do get sassy up here, as you know, and we have no shortage of drama to talk about this week. So, first up is Elizabeth, Shanae, and Clayton. I mean, we've been talking about this all week long. If you didn't see the episode or you're not caught up, Clayton ended up deciding to keep Shanae over Elizabeth, even though many girls in the house expressed their concerns with Shanae. Clayton put out a public apology to Elizabeth, saying if he knew of the full situation, he would have sent Shanae home right then and there. But a lot of people are questioning, is Clayton just trying to save face, or do we think the producers are telling him what decisions to make? Because it seems like they wouldn't want to cut the villain so soon. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I mean, this is something we've been talking about all week and it's like on one hand I appreciate Clayton's apology on the matter and like him watching it back now. He's obviously seeing those moments that happened when he wasn't in the room, but on the other hand, he had women telling him that Shanae was a bad person and he just failed to listen and he really didn't listen to Elizabeth's side of the story at all. He believed anything that Shanae said. Elizabeth gave her take, and he sent Elizabeth packing, which I just think was it's still baffling to me that that's the decision he made. And I'm not buying the fact that he didn't know everything that was happening because he definitely had some sort of idea that Shanae was bullying and like being rude to the other girls in the house. But again, I appreciate what he said on social media. That was very nice of him. And I appreciate everything Elizabeth is saying on social media. You know, she's telling people not to go and bully Shanae either, because two wrongs obviously don't make a right. But I'm excited to see how this pans out during the Women Tell All because we know that this is going to be the main topic of conversation there.
Oh, it's all going down at the tell-all. Elizabeth is like really excited about going. She's expressed that. Clayton's expressed that he's excited to have the conversation. Allison, what is your take? Do you feel like Clayton knew about the ADHD comments? Because I feel like there's no way he didn't know.
I don't know because based on his post, he made it seem like he had no idea. And I think that will also come to light at the tell all. And, hopefully who's ever hosting that, whether it's Jesse Palmer, whether it's someone else, is going to ask the hard hitting questions and get real answers out of him. The whole sit down between the two of them and him in the middle gave me such flashbacks to Hannah Brown's season between the two Lukes. And it was similar energy
Mm.
because she ended up keeping Luke P despite everyone not liking him, seeing all of his negative traits, but she was objectively a lot more into Luke P. And I think at the end of the day, Clayton might not have known all of the details, and he probably just had a stronger connection with Shanae, even though we can see all of the bad stuff happening behind the scenes, and ended up just going with the one he had the bigger connection with.
Yeah, that's a good point because we're saying that like Shanae, is having problems with everyone in the house. But at the end of the day, if you look at the connections, Clayton is vibing with Shanae. Like they are having some type of flirtatious relationship going on, where with Elizabeth, it definitely feels a little bit more of like a friendship vibe. I feel like he never gave her a full chance. Allison, I'm wondering what your thoughts are of Clayton this season and like producers. Do you think he's being like controlled? Like, how do you feel like he is as a bachelor overall?
I don't know if he's being controlled per se. I could see him being very agreeable regardless of, who
Hmm.
he's working with, whether that be producers, whether that be the girls on the season. And so in that way, if he's hearing opinions from other girls, from the producers, I can see him struggling with that. I can see him trying to make the right decision. And ideally, I don't think he would ever want to stir the pot, cause drama, hurt anyone. And I think he did make a mistake by sending Elizabeth home over Shanae, which is why he made that statement. We've seen other things this season happen, like the Cassidy situation, and he stayed quiet about that. So I think
Hmm.
it's very interesting that he did release a statement at this point. And I think that proves what, a great guy he is and how it was never his intention to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, I second that. And I'm down for his apology. And it is what it is. I think that he probably didn't see everything in the moment, but at least he is like recognizing that looking back. We never really see bachelors give apologies. I remember last season, like Queen Victoria was getting a lot of bullying, and it's like Matt James never said anything about it. So I like that Clayton is like speaking up on Elizabeth's behalf. And Elizabeth has been doing a lot on social media. She had a bachelorette themed promo photo shoot and said that this was not going to be the last of her. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, but she actually ended up deleting that picture, the photo shoot, from her Instagram. So I'm wondering if producers asked her to delete that. Gianna, do you think she's going to be the Bachelorette? Do you think that this was too extra? Was it iconic? What were your thoughts on it?
I definitely was reading into that caption that she posted, saying that this isn't the last of me or whatever she said. Because I was like, does this mean that she's going to be the Bachelorette? Like, is this the announcement? Like, that's where my brain went immediately. And I think that was the case for a lot of other people. And Bachelor producers were probably like, hey, this is like looking like an announcement and sounding like an announcement. Like, either change the caption or delete it or something. But I think on Elizabeth's end, it was all in good fun. I don't think she meant anything by it. I think we're all kind of reading into it too much. I don't know if she'd be down to be the Bachelorette just because of the way that her situation in terms of her mental health was handled by producers. I don't think anyone really stepped in and was like, hey, this is harmful to Elizabeth Shanae, the way that you're speaking to her, and they kind of just let it happen. And then the way that they edited it, they really put in the stuff about her ADHD, which on one hand is great because it sparks that conversation and brings awareness for people that have ADHD. But on the other hand, it was like exploiting Elizabeth in a way because she definitely didn't want Shanae to announce it to the house, and she did anyway. And now the whole world knows. Um, so I don't know that if she'd be down to be the Bachelorette just because of how things were handled with her situation. I can see her going on Paradise, maybe,
Me
but also
too.
like if Shanae is on Paradise, which we know Shanae will probably most definitely be on Paradise, and we know that she'd be willing to be on Paradise. I don't know if Elizabeth would go, or obviously that's going to be a whole plot line of if Shanae and Elizabeth go on Paradise. Obviously, neither are going to know, and that's going to be a whole other thing if that happened on Paradise. But I love Elizabeth. I think that she's going to be a strong voice in Bachelor Nation, regardless of what she does from now on.
Yeah, I agree. I think she got a lot of people rallying around her this week. I want to see her on Paradise. You know, I love a round two. Allison, who would you ship Elizabeth with? Give us like one or two guys you think she would link up with in Paradise.
That's a good question. I feel like I would love to see her with people from Katie's season. I could see her and maybe Andrew S being a cute couple if he would like to go to Paradise.
Ooh,
I just feel like they're both down to earth, but still like to have fun kind of people. I feel like there's a side of Justin we haven't necessarily seen. We had some great facial expressions from him on the season, but I would love to do a deeper dive
true
on
that.
him. So maybe.
Those are great options, and sign me up for those men as well. I'm gonna put Elizabeth with Rick. I feel like they might be a pretty good fit. But we'll have to see when Paradise starts casting and when the show comes back, because it doesn't really come back till the summer. Moving on to our next topic, Tayshia. She always has us creating conversation. This week, Tayshia's newest Instagram ad has everyone thinking she might be getting back together with ex-fiance Zac. She posted a workout video for the brand Tonal, and during the video, it was evident there was a rack of male shoes behind her, sparking speculation where this was shot. Zac also posted at the gym this week as well. So a lot of people are thinking they might be back together. However, Bachelor Nation Scoop put two and two together that the ad was actually filmed at Tayshia's stylist's house. So it was not in Zac's home gym or whatever. Gianna, Allison, let's kind of go down the line here. Do we think fans are reaching because we want them to get back together? Or do we think that maybe there is some truth to this and she is, stepping away from the franchise to work on her relationship with Zac?
Fans are most definitely reaching. I mean, Tayshia was so visibly upset, and that was so recently that this announcement was made that her and Zac were splitting. I don't think it would be like timely for them to already be getting back together. And also, Tayshia's a smart girl. If this theory were true that she was getting back together with Zac, I don't think that she would post an Instagram ad knowing how crazy Bachelor Nation is in his house, because she knows that we'd be doing what we're doing now in debunking the background and whoever's shoes. And also, that rack of shoes was so prominent in the story, like it was right there, and it was like you didn't
Mhm.
have to really like zoom in or anything to know that those were men's shoes. So I feel like she wasn't really thinking anything of it. And also, like, if the ad was for workout clothes, right? You said it was like a workout set or a mat, whatever.
Uh-huh.
It kind of makes sense for it to be filmed in her stylist's house because the stylist is the person helping her with the clothes. And if she gets clothes, it's obviously going to go with the stylist. So it all makes sense. Yeah, fans, Bachelor Nation, we're all crazy. Like I'll even like take account for being crazy and speculating and sparking conversations all the time. We do it here on Shared News. Even with the previews, we'll pause and zoom and see who's in the background. But for this, I think that the theory of her and Zach's house getting back together was definitely a reach. That is just not happening.
I think also the theory of Tayshia stepping back from Bachelor Nation in order to work on her relationship, I don't know if I fully buy that either because I think from what we know of Tayshia, she's such a hard worker. She's so passionate about her career, about business opportunities. So I think if she and Zach didn't work out, it was either due to other reasons or if it was due to her schedule or her career, she's probably going to take time to focus on her career, or maybe even find someone else who can work with that schedule or who can work with her lifestyle. And so I think if she's taking a step back from the podcast, focusing on other things, that's all because of her, because of better career opportunities for her. And I think less so to do with anything romantic at that point.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, this shoe rack just didn't have to be there. I feel like if they're filming an ad, Tayshia always, posts top quality ads. You see her like changing outfits during these, TikToks, like very dramatically, and it's just good editing. I feel like they could have got the shoe rack and put it in a different room to make this more top tier. But either way, I mean, it's great exposure for the brand. And Tayshia's probably getting a cute check. So we are living for that, and we're living for her single life. I want to ship Tayshia with somebody else, and I don't think it's going to be Zac. But we'll have to kind of see. We're all still following her. And speaking of The Bachelor, obviously, The Bachelor is heading to Live on Stage for their second round of Bachelor Live on Stage, hosted by Becca Kufrin. However, this week, Becca surprised us with 7 fan favorite Bachelorette contestants who will be joining her for 1 week each during the tour. Those contestants include Andrew S., Justin, James, Rick, Ivan, Connor the Cat, and Rodney. And many fans are already hoping their favorite guy ends up in their city. So I want to know, which guy would you guys most want to see? And are you going to be going to The Bachelor Live on Stage? Allison, let's start with you.
I feel like based on the fact that we just saw Andrew S. and Greg move in together in, I believe, Santa Monica, that might be a good sign
Yes.
that Andrew is at least our California boy for now because he's here. We don't have to figure out flights, et cetera, et cetera. So I would love to go to the LA show. Maybe his roommate Greg will come to support him. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I need to do a deeper dive of if any of the cities they released are where other people currently live, because I feel like that would be an easy guest of honor to do, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I wanna be at the LA show. I think Andrew S. is probably gonna do that as well. I wanna see Connor the Cat because I love Connor the Cat. I think he's so funny and cool. Gianna, are you gonna be going to one of the Bachelor Live on Stage? Do you think it's a good concept?
It's so funny because I saw this and of course I want to go, but I'm just like, what are they gonna do? I mean, I've never been to one and I didn't know how the last one worked, but I think it's just so funny to me because it's like, yes, live on stage, but people that take a stage are usually musicians or actors or they play an instrument, like something that has to do with like giving a talent. So I'm like, do they sit on stage and like do they do a Q&A, or is it one of those kind of how podcasts do live shows where it's basically a podcast of it'll be Becca and one of the guys just talking back and forth about their time on the season and funny stories. I think the concept is just so funny to me because of that, because I'm like, what are they doing on the
No,
stage
this is
type
what
of
it
thing?
is. It's like a
Okay.
2-hour show where it's like The Bachelor. So, like, Becca's the host, one of these guys will be the bachelor, they'll pull up girls from the audience, and they'll have them do, like act out, like, first impression rows or limo entrance, one-on-one date, group date, hometown, like, they literally just do a whole season of The Bachelor in 2 hours on stage. So, would you wanna go on
Okay.
stage, or would you rather watch from the audience?
Yes, I want to go on the stage. I would love to have to do with everything with that. I wish more than anything Greg would be involved, and I wish he would come to Boston because he is a Boston boy. Well, he's a Jersey boy, but he visits Boston all the time. So I'm like, maybe he'll take the opportunity. But I think he's so done with the franchise. Like, he doesn't even talk about the franchise at all. Like, yes, of course, he's roommates with Andrew now, and he's still friends with Aaron too. So it's like
Mhm.
I just can't see him getting on that stage, but I wish more than anything it was him because I am in love with him still. So that's why I wish. But regardless, I'll be going and hopefully I get on the stage. I'll keep you updated.
You will definitely get on stage. I feel like if you're there and you just like if they just look at you, they'll just bring you on stage. I mean, you have the biggest personality. So,
Oh,
I mean, and we need Gianna as the Bachelorette. I'm surprised Aaron isn't in this group either. A lot of people were upset that Aaron and James weren't doing it together. So, I mean, that would have been fun and cool too. Allison, would you want to go on stage or are you more of a watcher?
I feel like I'm too much of a hopeless romantic, so I would not be able
You're
to,
gonna fall
like,
in love.
forget like, exactly. I would be like, "Oh, this is just a sketch," and then I would get up there and be like, "So, like, where is Neil Lane? Like, should we
Yeah,
just do it?" So
yeah.
I think it would be dangerous because I would just automatically jump to where we're raising our children.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed. Well, you said you're an actress. Have you ever fallen in love with one of your co-stars?
Yeah. Yeah. I asked out one of my co-stars after a shoot because we were really flirty, so then I actually asked him out. We went on a few dates, but he ended up ghosting me, so here we are. I'm available.
Oh, okay, well, we're putting it out there, and we'll have to save that story for another time. Okay, well, there's this new reality show I'm dying to talk about. Former Bachelor Colton Underwood is actually joining this show. It's called Be on the Edge, featuring celebrities in a Survivor-like competition show for CBS that will air March 16th. Some of the other contestants include Jodie Sweetin from Full House, Lauren Elena, Ebony K. Williams, Ray Lewis, Meta World Peace, Craig Morgan, and a few others. The show was actually shot in Panama, and these celebrities are going to be facing wildlife, torrential downpours, and extreme heat for 2 weeks in the jungle as they raise money for charity. Every challenged one goes to their charities, and there's no eliminations. So it's kind of like Naked and Afraid meets Survivor. There's 9 or 10 of these contestants. They're going to be competing for challenges. There's going to be one winner at the end who will give all of their money to charities. And I mean, I'm kind of upset. I wanted to see Survivor. I love Survivor. I love seeing people vote each other off. So I thought we could finally get Celebrity Survivor. And now I just don't know how I feel about this show. And I kind of feel like the cast is a little weak. No offense. Gianna, are you going to be watching this?
No, you lost me at no eliminations. Like, where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be dramatic. Of course, I love the concept. I love that they're gonna give back to charities. That's amazing. But yeah, no, I don't think it'll be really entertaining to watch, to be honest with you. And I am already watching so many shows, and I have so many more shows that are gonna be premiering. I don't have time for this, to be honest. I mean, it's not high on my priority list, so I will not be watching it, no. Allison, do you think you'll watch
Well,
it?
I'm kind of with you. I'm confused of how they'll keep it interesting if it's the same group of people every week. And I think it's great that they're raising money for charity. And I'm not surprised that Colton's necessarily on it. I think after coming out, Colton, he was probably looking for another opportunity. This, paints him in a slightly different but still positive light. So, from a PR perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch the first episode and see if it's intriguing or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it an episode or 2, but I'm just like, I don't relate to wildlife. Like, I don't like camping, I don't like the jungle, even these challenges. Like, I was watching Celebrity Big Brother last night, I'm like, "Is the challenge gonna end? Like, who's forming alliances?" So, I feel like this show is just missing that element that really intrigues me as someone who likes to watch reality TV drama. So, I don't know how I'll feel about it, but I'll definitely give it an episode or 2 and we'll see what happens. Gianna, what do you think of this cast? If it's kind of not hitting it for me. I mean, like I said, Jodie Sweden, Lauren Elena, Craig Morgan. Do you even know of everybody on here?
No, I don't know everybody. I love Jodie Sweden, but this cast seems like it's a bunch of like wash-ups. That's so mean to say, but that's how I feel about this cast. It's very blah, it's very bland. It's not giving like Colin is probably obviously their star of the show, giving that he's probably the most talked about celebrity lunch. But yeah, no, it's not exciting. It's really not. Sorry, not
Yeah, well, it
sorry.
comes out March 16th, so we have a little bit until then, but we'll give it a try and we'll see. And bringing it back to our last story, there was a video on TikTok that went viral this week. It had over 2 million views. Maybe you guys followed it, maybe you didn't, but a couple of girls, they got flown out to Vegas by a guy that was a previous contestant on The Bachelor and they didn't want to sleep with the guy, so he ended up canceling their hotel room, canceling their flight, and they had to find their own way back home. And they shared this story time on TikTok. It got so many views. Everybody was talking, and they were invited on the She's All Batch podcast to reveal all. And Allison, you actually listened to it this morning, and I'm dying to know the updates. What ended up coming of this viral TikTok story?
So, what I will say is, I love they started the segment and right away told us who it was. They weren't like dangling it in front of us, which was nice. So, it was Christian Bishop from JoJo's season. I had to Google him. Maybe everyone else did too.
Yeah.
And he, I guess, lives in Vegas. Found this girl on Instagram because several months earlier she had posted in Vegas. So he was clearly trolling like the Vegas geolocation and trying to find girls. Messaged her on Instagram. She automatically flagged it because apparently he's verified. So he had the blue check mark. And he was asking if she was from Vegas. I believe she's in Utah. She was like, no, we were just there for a trip. He said he would love for her to come. She explained to him, I'd feel a lot safer if my friend could come as opposed to me just coming alone. He offered to fly them both out. They kind of had some red flags. So they ended up driving because they didn't want to be stranded there without a car. So he sent them gas money. They drove, I believe it was like a 6-hour drive, got to Vegas, got to the hotel, checked in, pre-gamed, like went out one night, their first night there. And leading up to this, he had been very presumptuous. He had been asking for her to send him nudes. Apparently, he referred to himself as daddy in the third person. So was saying that daddy wanted those, daddy wanted X, Y, and Z, send these for daddy. They still went. Looking back, they said they were really naive and they probably shouldn't have gone, but they had hopes and they said they felt a little more secure because he was verified and they were getting ready. And apparently he was just getting kind of more and more aggressive about wanting to hook up, other things, saying that they didn't fulfill their promises of sending nudes. So they had to kind of make up for that. Very odd. They finally just put their foot down and her best friend kind of put her foot down for the main girl and was saying, no, she's not going to hook up with you. She's not doing any of these things. And that's the conversation that went viral on TikTok of him really pushing
Mm.
back on that. So they went to bed that night alone in their room, woke up the next morning with an email from the hotel saying that their reservation had been canceled. They no longer had a room
Oh.
to stay in for Saturday night. They went down to the lobby and apparently he had gone to the front desk and said that both of them had COVID. So they needed to like get out of the
Oh
hotel
my
and he got a full
god.
refund because they had COVID. So they were like basically kicked out. they ended up, I guess, paying for the hotel for the second night and trying to make the best of it and having a girls' trip, but then had to do the like 6 hour drive home. The whole thing was crazy.
He literally lied. That is so shady to lie about having COVID. This story is crazy. Did they mention anything about Christian? Like, has he reacted to this? I mean, now everyone knows who he is. He's under fire.
He texted them a link to the TikTok and was like, "Really, Taylor?"
Ooh.
And then sent them, I think, for Nevada, like the legal what you can and can't record, implying that they had broke the law in some way or kind of, not super threatening, but that ominous kind of tone, and sent them all the legal stuff. And they'd look into that before. And actually, in Vegas, only one person needs to know that they're being recorded, the other person doesn't. So they were protected by that law. But he basically was trying to get them to take it down because of that, and I guess they just blocked him at that point.
Wow, that is insane. I mean, what a dog to assume that these girls are gonna sleep with you. Also, like, you can't get any girls on your own. Like, it's kind of pathetic, kind of misogynistic, or totally like narcissistic as well. What a jerk, honestly. Gianna, what are your thoughts on this? And I mean, Gianna, what do you think of the girls posting this on TikTok? Do you think they had the right to expose him?
Oh my god, yeah, and I loved all of Bachelor Nation, like we were talking about earlier, they all put their, like, investigative caps on, and they were screenshotting, I guess his reflection was in the background, but, like, it was only his profile, so then people started, like, taking his profile and trying to match it up. At one point, they thought it was Crazy Pizza Peter from Michelle's season, and
Uh-huh.
he had to do an announcement saying, like, "I've never been to Vegas. I'm in the pizza shop. I've been in the pizza shop all week." And like he started going crazy and it just was driving everyone crazy before we finally found out who it was. Um and props to the girls for posting the TikTok. I don't think they were doing it for clout because if they were, they would have said who it was right away type of
Hmm.
thing. Just being like, "Hey, this is the person that flew us out." But instead, they were like, "Hey, story time. This is what just happened to us." Like, and I think it's a good lesson too for everyone to learn. Like, the people that we see on our TV screens, not everyone is a saint. It's, if you have a blue check mark, that doesn't mean you're a saint. I don't know. I'm glad the girls recognized that they were being kind of naive and saying that they thought just because he was verified that they were gonna be safe. Because who knows? Like he could have killed them. I listen to too many crime podcasts. Like, he totally could have killed them. I don't care if he's verified or not. Like, that doesn't matter if he's in the public eye or not. Yeah, this story is insane. I'm glad they finally figured out who it was. I hope if he had any brand deals that the brands not don't work with him anymore. Yeah, do we know the aftermath for him? Like, do we know his fate? Has he posted anything? Has he said anything?
At this point, I feel like he was on so many seasons ago that he wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily in the public eye that much anymore anyways.
And he went
Yeah.
home night 2 or, like, the 2nd week, so he didn't make it very far. But, I mean, this is definitely, like, a lesson that, just because 'cause you're on reality TV, it does not make you invincible, and I think for girls because, I mean, I've gotten so many, messages about, like, bachelorette guys being, like, F-boys and sliding into these girls' DMs. It's like, just because a guy is on reality TV, it doesn't mean you should trust him because he could be just as much of a jerk as any other guy, so be careful who you talk to and where you go. It sounds like they still had a fun trip in Vegas. And I mean, they got justice, right? I mean, he's getting canceled and they're able to kind of share their story and help other people. So, I mean, that is one for the books. These viral TikTok bachelor threads that keep on happening, it's always something. Someone is always getting called out in the franchise. But I want to talk a little bit about our predictions for next week as we round up this video. What are your guys' thoughts? What's going to happen next week in Bachelor Nation or just on the episode? Do we have any final four predictions we want to share? Gianna, why don't you start?
I I think Rachel's gonna win. That's my prediction for the entire season. So I know that this past week was her first one-on-one date. That's the first we really got to know more about her. And her and Clayton's chemistry is just like undeniable. Like, you can feel it through the screen, and I really think that she's going to be our winner. Period. I'm wondering if Shanae is going to go home next week or the week after. I think producers want her around maybe a couple more weeks, so I don't think she's going to go home necessarily anytime soon. And then in Bachelor Nation this week, you can't even predict what's going to happen because clearly, who would have ever predicted that story with the Vegas thing? Like, you just never know. And I think that's why this franchise is so strong because even though it's like not something from the current season, it's still being talked about. We just never know what's going to happen with any of these humans. So, I guess everyone will just have to come back to shared news and see because we will definitely keep you updated.
I feel like this week's episode specifically felt like a blur to me. I watched it and I felt like 20 minutes had passed because we really went from a rose ceremony to Rachel's date to a group date and we never went beyond that. We didn't get to Serene's one-on-one. We didn't get up to the next rose ceremony. So in a way it felt very short. I'm curious to see how Serene's one-on-one goes because I think either she could very easily become a front runner or maybe be sent home if there's not a connection. I feel like there might not be a middle ground there. I'm worried about my girl Teddy. I don't want her to end up like an Abigail first impression rose, America's favorite, and then kind of disappears. So hopefully that gets reignited. And I agree with Gianna. There was something magical about the Rachel date, the way Clayton talked about her. And I also think it's interesting comparing how they film Rachel of this season to Rachel Kirkconnell of Matt's season. It feels very similar. They're showing similar moments, they're showing
Mhm.
her really great qualities. They're filming her as if she's the winner, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I feel like the more years you watch the show, you can kind of pick up on the winner's edit, and they have that on all types of reality shows, competition shows, so I'm gonna put my money on Rachel as well, and I actually think Shanae is gonna go home next week. I feel like we've gotten to the point where it's just been the Shanae show for so long, and Clayton even tweeted, responding to Rhea from Chicks in the Office. She was like, don't respond to this tweet if you bang Shanae. And then he responded with like a kissy face and like a spoiler. So I think Shanae is going to go home. And I think Gianna, your favorite Genevieve, is going to win on that 2-on-1 date. And I'm also reading Rachel Lindsay's book. I'm about halfway through. So stay tuned for the updates on that because it's just starting to get juicy. And that's everything we have to share with you guys today, breaking down the biggest Bachelor news of the week. Before you guys go, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that bell so you never miss out on any future videos. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined by Gianna Gravelisi and Allison Van Dam. Our social media handles are on the screen right now, so be sure to give us a follow, come say hello, and that's all we have. So we will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.